just starting. I'm actually just finishing eating. Hang on. Oh, I still have some of this green chili stew, so I'm trying to finish doing that. And we've got the chat open here, just in case. Hello, people. Sorry, I'm just eating my lunch. Don't mind me. Oh, green chili season. Guess I should have some music playing. Let's see, what was I listening to before? Monster Cat. Come on. Why though? Why are you doing this? There it goes. Ooh, new Monster Cat.
Welcome to Call of the Wild.
Hey everyone, this
Hello,
is
Maris.
weekly radio show.
Yes, I got your email. Did you get mine? I already had those issues, so thank you so much for the offer, but I'm afraid I must decline because I already own them.
Individuals like yourselves can take part in a global family.
Hey yo, this is Logan from Australia.
I'd like to shout out
But
everyone who listens to Monster Cat.
if you have those issues,
So glad
and you want to learn how to make something, I can go over it with you.
So get yourself ready for an
You
hour
can
of
choose
fresh
something
music.
from one of those issues and we can
right now.
tutorial the shit out of it.
With nothing to hold us back, these are the songs of the wild.
I sure do.
Hey everyone, what is up? Welcome back to our favorite time of the week. This is Monster Cat's weekly radio show called The Wild. We are going to get right into some hot music because that is why you came here. You can expect to hear some new records from Tony Romera, Half an Orange, Luther,
Here we
Slushy,
go.
and to top it all off, we have previews
See this?
from Stone
I might have to
Temple
move this
Tales
over a
and
little.
Direct. All this coming up in the next hour or so. Don't go anywhere. Starting us off, this is Heat Wave by Tony Romera right here on Monster Cat's Call the Wild.
No, I'm almost done. It's so good. Excuse me. Okay. Let's see. Make some moves here. Do we have a clearer picture? Yeah, it's a little better. Making the pattern plus size. Oh. I see. you guys. Grading is something that I shared on the Discord channel. I did share... Hang on, let me turn this down. So, yeah, I did share that video on grading on my Discord channel so that you guys could have an idea of what's involved when you're grading. Can I do this? Can I though? When you're grading a pattern. So you would basically take your measurements, your main measurements, or, you know, as many measurements as you can is always helpful, but you take that and you divide it by the amount of seams that you have. So, for instance, with, like, let's take the bodice, or the blouse pattern that I was working on. You have, oof. Oh, let me get it. All right. So you have the center front, which has one side here. This side never changes. This is always the same. You have that. You have the side front, which has two sides on it. You have the center back on a fold, so that also does not change. You have the side back, two seams, two sides on this piece. So with all of these, you have to remember if this is on the fold, you have two sides on this as well. So this is going to be 2, 4, 6, 8. But actually it's not. So yeah, grading. Oh my god, grading. Right. 2 here. 4 is on here, so 2 on each side. There's basically, you take your measurement, you take your difference from what the pattern already is, and you divide that number by however many times you need to expand evenly among each piece, each seam, and each side. And the video that I shared does that in a comprehensive way. So there is a lot of not just moving over, but moving down when you're grading for a larger size. It moves inward and up when you're going for a smaller size. It's just the way that our bodies tend to grow, and a lot of the time when we gain weight, we don't gain weight going up, we gain weight on the sides. So you would then add more of an increment on the side seams than you would on the shoulders, for instance. There's still an increase to compensate for however much volume you have here, but not as much. So how many pieces does this blouse have? You have 1, 2, you have 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So you have 7 pieces. But how many seams do you have that will be altered? You have 2, you have 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. So 12 sides that needs to be adjusted. And so if you take the difference of, say, your bust line from the pattern's original bust line measurement, you would then need to add that difference to your pattern. And you would do that by dividing that number by 12. And that is the increment that you would increase your pattern on the bust line. Yeah, definitely check the Discord. It should still be on there. I just posted a link to the video on the main channel, so it's definitely there. Alright, and I recorded a short little video today too regarding how I set my sleeves with a lining, since I had paused on the blouse pattern for now. as I have to cut all of that out, and I would really like to finish my floral print dress. I just shot a quick video explaining how I finish the interior of an armhole or an arm's eye when the sleeve itself is not lined the way that the rest of the bodice is lined. And so there's a way to do it by turning both of them into the core part of where the lining and the shell meet inside, so that it's nice and clean when you're finished with it. Also, I'm trying something new because I realized that this camera does not really do well with wide shots. I decided to try to bring it down a little bit so that hopefully it's a little bit more clear. I have less of space that you can see, but I tend to work in this general area anyway, so unless I need absolutely a wide shot, then I'll just adjust accordingly. But for now, this should be able to show you. Oh, hey! Groovy Blue Hue. Thank you for coming! Welcome! Aw, it's so nice that you're here. I appreciate that very much. Groovy Blue Hue, by the way, is a dear friend of mine on Facebook and on Twitch as well. She is a lovely person, and she does really adorable artwork. She does crafts. She does just about everything, and I just love her personality. I love you. You're awesome. Thanks so much for joining me. I know if you can't stay long, that's totally fine, but that you popped in just to say hey, I appreciate it. That's super cool. Aw. Well, welcome everybody. Thanks for joining. Let's see, I was going to take a quick peek at what number 11 of the Goth Lolly Gosurori pattern magazine has to offer. Who is this chick, and when was this published? This looks super old school. I mean, they are. Like, the first of the Otome no Sewing books were, I think, published back in 2012? So these went defunct a little bit before then. Ooh, did I just get one of those invisible splinters? How though? How though, and why? Okay. Whew. Alright. What have we got in this here magazine? Yes, I'm using the Gothic Lolita books. I have almost a complete collection of the Gothic and Lolita Bibles. I am also trying to complete my collection of the Gosurori pattern books, and of course I do have a complete collection of the Otome no Sewing books because I've been jumping on those since I found out they were a thing. So I have them all from 1 to 13 right now. I'm expecting 14 in the mail very, very soon. It's going to be hopefully arriving by the 15th of September, and then I'm going to do a reveal on my table. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Let's see what this one has. So I have a beef with the Gosurori magazines because they're not drafted very well. But some of their designs are cute. They were mostly submissions from fans or readers of these books, and so these submissions were then transferred or translated into a pattern. The best ones were translated into patterns and then featured in the magazine. So a lot of these you might see a little design that was submitted by a reader, and then this was the result. Actually, that blouse isn't too bad. It's kind of cute. I wonder what the pattern looks like though. Typically, hello, thank you. It has aw, you're hosting my stream. That's so sweet. Thank you. Well, anyway, I was going on. Sometimes these patterns, when I looked at them, I actually did do a couple patterns from these books. They need alteration pretty badly. They are just not patterned very well, so I tend to have to add volume to the skirt or just bring it in the waist seam a little bit. So let's see, let's start with the first page here. What do we got? We have this blouse that's sitting outside of a skirt here on this side as well. I guess this is like a different color that they went with this design. The blouse itself seems to have a fully shirred back. It has a little ribbon tie. It has this atrocious abundance of ruffles. I like these sleeves though, they're pretty cute. I bet these are detachable sleeves because that was a thing for a little while. Let's see, when was this published? I was looking for that. When was this published? 2008. So this pattern book for Gothic Lolita fashion was published in 2008. So we are going back in time now to see what they were wearing that was Lolita in 2008. I do like that blouse. Of course, it's, you know, it's kind of a lace monster, a little bit. But okay. And they have this galloon lace here with a woven ribbon coming through it. I guess they used a print fabric for the same skirt. So each of these are the same skirt pattern, just in different colors or print. Looks like they have the head bow here that you can make. This is on page 58. This is another head bow, slightly different, I guess, on page 54. So what else do they have? Oh, that's cute. Oh, check that out. A little bit of an Alice thing going. Here's the design that somebody submitted. It has a little apron. It has pin tucks going down the vertically on the bib of the apron. It has heart-shaped pockets with a galloon lace being laced through here, with a galloon lace being laced through with ribbon, I should say. It also just has some Rochelle lace plastered on top of it, it looks like. So, but that's kind of a cute design. Do not like that rickrack. That is cheap as fuck, but okay. I do like galloon lace. I think it can be used very, very appropriately if used well. So let's just catch up here. I need to learn how to read patterns one day. You always have such good skills. Oh, come on now. That's why I'm doing this. I want to teach everybody how to do what I do. Everybody should be able to make their own Lolita. They don't have to spend an arm and a leg to make something fabulous. You just need to know how to do it. Any one of these pieces can be modified, and using the right fabric, the right lace trims, and things like that, you can make something that probably would be even more fabulous than the most expensive Lolita dress. Just takes usually a lot of ruffles. And ruffles are hard to do, which is why Lolita dresses with ruffles cost a lot of money. It's because that sort of thing takes special equipment in a factory. It takes a specific machine that's a ruffling machine, and everything has to be measured out in perfect order so that it meets into the seam without any overlap. And, you know, it takes people who know what they're doing. The patterning and the marking, all of that has to be precision done so that you come up with a product that's stellar. Things like this, when you're doing one-offs, one pieces at a time, you have home sewing techniques that you can employ, but when you're doing it in a production factory sort of setting, there are really strict guidelines to follow in order for things to be as least wasteful as possible and as most efficient as possible. So while we might gather our skirts by hand sometimes, like I've shown here before, you'll do a basting stitch and you'll draw that string and you'll pin it into the hem that you're doing, and you keep going until the whole thing is done for a skirt, for example. Well, that sort of thing has to be done 50, 100 times, 200 times in a very short amount of time. So when you're doing that, you can't hand baste everything. You have to have a machine that ruffles your edges. Or when you finish a chiffon with a purled edge, using another machine, a Muro machine for instance, will do a purl edge on chiffon or any fabric that you like. I am able to make a purled edge using my home serger, but it takes a little bit of setting up for that to be prepared so that I can use that as a purled edge. And while I'm doing it, I can't use my serger for any other project until I take it out of the purl edge setting and then serge my seams the way I need to. So I have to be absolutely sure about my timing if I'm doing a purled edge that I don't have anything else to serge, because I'll need to completely take time to change the machine so that it does a different function. And when you're in a factory, you have different machines already set up for the production that is slated for the next 2 weeks, for instance. You'll have all your machines set up. 2 weeks, you have your workers doing exactly that project and only that project in succession, and once it's all done, all the machines are changed and set up for the next project. Ruffles are so intense. I know. They are. Kind of like this. I'm not sure I like that waistline, or the way that this was made is like, what's going on with the fit here? What is happening? And that bonnet is just, I don't know, man. Here she's not wearing a blouse. It's an A-line jump skirt. I kind of like this little head decoration though. Oy vey. Oh, that's just a tragedy. Look at this. This skirt though, this is pretty cute. You guys see this right here? That's not bad. Here, let's get a closer look. What's the name of the Discord? I can't find it. Well, there should be an invite link. Are you not part of the Discord? I thought you joined the Discord. If you didn't, that's okay. The invite code should be in the information section of the YouTube channel that you are currently watching, because I see that you are on YouTube. If you go to Twitch, you can also see my information there. So all of that information that's relevant should be in the information of the video itself. So if you have any more questions, let me know. I will try to address it accordingly. Let's see. I like this waist on this dress. It's very high and it's got 4 buttons. I think they're also advertising this bolero. It's kind of a simple shape. It's like squared off here at the front, so it's not one of those that swoop down. This fit looks just awful. And there's pin tucks, vertical pin tucks going all on the body. Pin tucks going across the first tier of this skirt. And then it finishes with just a line of ruffles. I don't know. And this print is just atrocious. Like, you can use prints like this, that's fine, but make sure that you're coordinating it with, like, I don't know, a solid of some sort or some sort of contrasting fabric, because this all over print look is not attractive. At least I don't think so. Here's a nice little nightgown-ish looking thing. Some bloomers. Drawers. They call them drawers. Not sure about these sleeves though, that just kind of sit up on the top of your arm, your bicep. I think these are the same dress. Maybe not. No, this is not the same dress. This is a different dress. This has a squared neckline. This has a heart-shaped neckline. Oh, remember these shoes, guys? Remember when people wore those rocking horse shoes? Ha! Did you find it, Amaris? Let me know. It's kind of a cool shirt. Not really Lolita. This whole outfit isn't really Lolita. This is the goth part of the gothic Lolita, I guess. They have a much better military outfit, too, in one of the Otomino sewing books. This is very similar. I think these are 2 separate pieces. Question mark? Very similar to a Victorian maiden British check dress that had the underbust neckline and the 4 buttons. Actually, I think it's 3 buttons on each side that they finished it with. And I made a version of that dress before I knew what I was doing. Came out okay, but I've learned a lot since then. Oh, look! Some hoodies. You got a hoodie with cat ears made out of plaid, because that was a thing in the J-rock, J-punk sort of thing. With the sleeves that are attached with safety pins. More Lolita. These are not patterns, though. These are advertisements. So if you see things like this and you're wondering, where's the pattern for these dresses? Well, typically they'll just throw in some advertisements in the middle of the book to remind you that, yeah, you can make your own, but you can also spend a fortune to buy them. Angelic Pretty, you're so overpriced. Why? I mean, you can make any of these things now. They're very simple. It's the print that you're paying for. The print for AP and the custom lace that they have made for their designs is really what a lot of the price goes into. Because if you're just using generic lace and generic fabric, it's not going to cost as much. But they have everything custom printed for them and custom woven, custom embroidered lace. So yeah, that gets expensive. So they have to adjust the cost. But if you decide to do anything like this with generic fabric, more power to you, because I like it. I think I'm more proud to say that I made something than I bought this from Angelic Pretty. I think I have one Angelic Pretty item, and it's the Wonder Party skirt, and I got it used. So I think I paid maybe $50 for it, and I like it, but man, I would not pay $200 for that thing, especially if it's just because it's a custom printed fabric. And besides, there are so many fabric designers on Spoonflower, and their quality has really gone up, so you can order something from Spoonflower that's a really, really nice print, and have something completely unique that you can't even find in a fabric store. Let's see, they have little purses that you can make. Here's the instructions for it. And some weird pincushion purse. I don't know. This is Clover, basically. Clover brand is a Japanese brand, and they like to advertise their little tools and stuff, of which I have a few. I have like a few little flower makers by Clover. And really what these are is they're just using this space to, here's our product and this is how you can use it. Look, we gave you a free project to try if you buy our product. So these are kind of like yo-yos a little bit, only they're more like pincushions. I have a ton of cotton crochet lace. I got mine from my great-grandmother who just had her 80th birthday, and she designed it herself. That's amazing! I like crochet. I like it because when I'm sick it passes the time. That or I do needlepoint. So here's more advertisements. These are more patterns for some kimonos using fabric that is printed in Japan. So I guess you have this spider web thing here. You have a kind of kimono Lolita, the is it Wa Lolita? Yeah, it's Wa Lolita for the Japanese version of Lolita. Or the Japanese style, folk style of Lolita. And then you have Ki Lolita, which is the Chinese style. Here's a list of the fabrics that they use. Probably you can buy it at some place called Tomato. Here they're advertising it as shoegale.com. Unless this is shoegale.com. I'm not sure. No, this is for ddecker02.com. I actually have, pretty sure I have fabric that's very similar or even made from the same companies on that shelf right there. And I bought that fabric when I was in Tokyo in 2012. So I've been hoarding it. I think I used one of them. I got like 3 different colorways of the same print, and I used the black one to make like a casual little Lolita thing. And so I've been hoarding the rest of it, not wanting to use it. I have so much fabric, it's kind of ridiculous. More crafty things that you can make using silicone and how to dress your hair, put on a wig. Here's a map, a shop list map, so you can get all the pieces that you need if you're doing it exactly as the book. Ooh boy. H Naoto. I like H Naoto. Their frill series is very nice. Here, I guess, are some honorable mentions for the designs that were submitted by readers of the book. More designs that were submitted. And then you go into the actual patterns. These are a mess. You think the Otomino sewing books are bad? Jesus. Look at how many numbers and crazy lines and things you've got on here. Nothing is standardized. It's kind of nutty. But this is that blouse pattern that we saw earlier. It's cute. I mean, breaking it down, I probably could do it. It's just, holy shit, there's a lot there. It makes my eyes dizzy. Not me, just my eyes. So, anyway, that concludes number 11 of the Gosurori. And it does have the pattern sheet in it, but I don't use these anymore. I just draft my own in case I need to change something. Because a lot of the time when somebody commissions me, they're not going to fit exactly to the specifications of the pattern. So I found that it's easier if I just draft the pattern myself, and then before I transfer it to a pattern page, I will adjust the size according to my client, and then I transfer the pattern. So I do a little grading, and it's easier to do that when you're drafting it instead of copying it. Anyway, I digress. Oof. Here. Let's see. I was wondering how to get the Otomino Sewing and Gosurori books besides Etsy. That is how I have attained them so far, but if there is a way to get them as they are released, I would love to know. She taught me to make my own lace, and I love making it. Oh, that's nice. Oh, yes, lace making and crochet is very fun. And as for M.L. Warren's question, yes, there are a couple different places that you can get the Otomino sewing books as they are released. Previously, I was getting them almost exclusively from CD Japan. So you do have to just remember that you have to pay for the shipping. If it's shipping from Japan, it's going to cost a little bit of a pretty penny. The books themselves tend to retail at something like $13, but then tack on the shipping cost, it comes out to about $22 in the end. So you're paying $22 with the shipping to have it shipped to you from Japan as it's released. You might be able to find it on CD Japan, especially if the number 14 hasn't been released yet. Also, I managed to order number 14 from Amazon Japan, so amazon.jp. You just make a new account with Amazon Japan, and they work with you just fine. Apparently, people have no problem ordering from the Japanese version of Amazon when they're living in the US or elsewhere. So these are all possibilities. You can also find them on eBay, especially the back issues. So if you're looking for anything from 1 to 13, you might be able to have more luck finding them on eBay for a little bit of a better price than Etsy. Etsy, they tend to raise the price for compensating for what they paid for it. And that's just retail. So that's what happens, but hopefully those sources will be able to help you out when you're finding the Otomino sewing books for yourself, especially back issues. So I hope that helps. Yes, absolutely. eBay is good. CD Japan for the new ones. Sometimes they have back issues available. And if you can't find them there, the new ones you can also get on amazon.jp. So, what was I? What was I doing? So I tried a new thing. I lowered this camera right here so it's a lot lower. Hopefully you can see a little bit more detail when I pull out things like my pattern. Can you see that okay? I wonder. See, I have to look at my screen from across the room, and it's not very clear, especially without my glasses on, which I refuse to wear for some reason. But that should be pretty good. You won't be able to see the wide shot of the table, so it doesn't really, like, this is about the middle of my table right here. It goes even further than that. So if I'm drafting a pattern, you might not be able to see it. I might have to raise the camera. That is until I get my new camera set up. And hopefully that's going to resolve the issue. Fingers crossed. So, in lieu of that, what was I doing? Oh yeah, I kind of wanted to see what kind of detail you can see right now. I mean, it's okay, I guess. By the way, you guys, if you are watching me on YouTube, be sure to check out my Twitch stream instead. I am streaming this simultaneously to Twitch and to Facebook. So if you're watching on YouTube, I would really, really appreciate it if you head over to the Twitch stream instead. Follow me there, and then you'll get notifications of when I stream online. So, and it also helps to increase my follower count. So I really need followers, and it's free. Please join me on Twitch. I'm just putting the word out and restreaming to YouTube so that, you know, everybody gets the message if they are following me on YouTube. I am going to be posting on YouTube soon as well, since I just recorded a video demonstrating how I finish the interior of an arm's eye when it has lining but the sleeve does not. So I was thinking of working on this floral print dress a little bit today, since I can. Oy. So I had already pinned the interior of my arm's eye here, and it is ready to be sewn. Thank you. Thank you, ML. Is ready. Okay. Work with me. Work with me. Okay. Now, oh, Cara, I'm sorry. I need you done. Yep. Oh, well, hello! Now we're Lady Kyra. And that's ML, I suppose. Hello. And welcome. Thank you so much for joining me on Twitch. I am trying to increase my viewers so that I reach the 3 average viewers at a time so that I can officially become an affiliate. And that is my goal. I get benefits with being an affiliate. For one, all of my archived streams stay on for 30 days instead of 14. That would be helpful for everybody. So tell your friends that I'm here. Let them know that I'm streaming if they like this sort of thing. Here we go. I don't know how well you can see this. I just realized I suppose I could move this over. Sort of. So I could reach it. Yeah, something like that. Oh my god. Alrighty. Just sewing the arm's eye. Let's see, can I do this with my walking foot? Did it break? Oh, it did! Ha! My needle broke. That's okay. try to get this undone. Oh, I put all of my tools away. Uh-oh. Oh, because you have... I echo through both. Do I... You mean my sound has an echo right now? Does it? Oh, through both Twitch and YouTube. I see. Well, turn off the YouTube one. Yeah. Okay. I suppose I should change this. Let's get a replacement needle. No, it was me. Okay. So a sharps container, always an important thing to have when you have broken needles, pins, razor blades, anything that's sharp. You want to keep it all in one place until this gets full and you're ready to throw it all away. Never throw away your needles or your pins if they're broken on their own. Let's see. No, for those are medium weights. Always keep a bunch of needles handy in every size, at least the 3 basic sizes, which would be a, let's see, you want a 7, you want, excuse me, you want an 11, a 12, and a 14 and a 16. Or 10, if you can get it, or 9 for your very fine weight fabrics. And there is a good reason why you want to keep different sizes of needles, and be sure to use the right size needle for the fabric or project that you're working on, because your needle size might depend on the quality of your sewing. I mean, will affect the quality of your sewing. Don't fall. Alright, let's try this again. So I'm using a 12, denoted by an 80-12, 80-12. Alright, let's try this again. Going over this problem area. Here we go. Oh yes. goes again. How many times can Carol break her needles? Let's find out. Let's see. Do I have... I think I have my needle card right here. We'll just use these up. Let's try a 14 this time. But I think I did finish this one side. I can pull these pins out now. Talk to me, people. What's happening with you? What's going on in your lives? Tell me. Ah, see. That's lovely. So here we go. I'll show you the first side of this blouse that I did. So I set the sleeve in, and then when you turn it inside out, the sleeve looks like this. It looks like this. So the interior lining is finished. Right in here. So you don't see any raw edges. Oh, you're making pho? Oh, I love pho. I love food. I also love pho. Pho. Okay. Do this. So now we're going to start up at the shoulder and work our way down to the center, to the side seam, the bottom of the side seam. Let's take off these threads. Hello, Melon. Hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm glad you could make it. I'm always happy that you're here. You always make me so happy when you show up in stream. I'm wonderful. How are you? I set my sleeves in yesterday, trying to finish this project so that I could work on this other project and then work on another project that I have commissions for. So, I got a little bit of news yesterday. Remember when I was complaining and telling you about what happened on Saturday? Well, nothing happens without consequences. And while I think it's a good thing, I'm a little bit relieved that this happened. The owner of the cafe called me yesterday and said that I was off the schedule until further notice, until I was ready to come back, he said. Because it seemed that I was under a lot of pressure with the new teaching job, and it can't be the cafe's fault, which I have to disagree. That place is pretty stressful, especially when it's really, really busy. And I have to admit, I'm not really cut out to be waitstaff. I was never very good at it. I tend to be very daydreamy, and while I appreciate and I enjoy making drinks and being creative with the way that I present them, or making sandwiches and like making sure to be absolutely perfect with the presentation of them, I am terrible at serving. And I'm not that into board games. So when I had my little breakdown on Saturday, it got around. Everybody knows. Not really happy about that. I said a lot of things that I thought were in confidence, but as it turns out, nothing can be said in confidence in that place. So the owner called me and had a little talking with me, and yeah, so he said that he wanted me to finish out my schedule for this week, and then I was off the schedule. I'm not fired. He's giving me a reprieve from working. Yeah, I guess it works out, but still, I know. Kind of miffed that they were very passive about their part in it. Sucks that everyone was very gossipy. Yeah. And I'm not too surprised. That just seems to be how that place functions, which is very gossipy. In any case, after this week, this is my last week for now working at the board game library, and I can then hopefully focus on what I love to do, which is teaching at college, teaching here, doing my commissions, focused on, I'm collaborating with a local convention to put on a J Fashion show. So if anybody has things they want to showcase and they want to send it to me, we can arrange to have models gotten and fitted for your pieces, and we can like showcase your stuff. We're in New Mexico, not sure how that would work out for everybody. Still, we're doing that thing. I'm helping with this J Fashion show, and it should be pretty good. It can't just be me though, guys. Okay, we are trying to find local designers, or even just makers of whatever it is that they made that's of a Japanese fashion sort of aesthetic. But New Mexico is not very populous, and the J Fashion scene here is quite niche. So, I mean, it's niche anywhere, but because we don't have that many people, I mean, how many could possibly be interested in J Fashion to showcase it at a convention? The convention is Kanji-Con, and it's in November, so that you know. Oh, look at that sleeve. That is perfect. I'm gonna sneeze. Oh god. Okay, let's see. Seems like it isn't just you glad about the fashion show. Seems fun. Maybe you'll get people from out of town. Are there any designers visiting the con? And thank you, bless me, thank you. Yeah, I am putting the word out to neighboring states, Colorado and Arizona in particular, because I do know that there are people from those states that do travel to conventions that we have here in Albuquerque. So putting out feelers, just trying to get the word out about this convention, see if I get any bites. So far, I mean, I just met with the girl yesterday, so I can't imagine that anything is going to happen very, very quickly. We do only have 2 months, 2.5 months, something like that. Anyway, I wanted to show this to you. Look at this. Look at this beautiful finished arm's eye. Look at when I turn it inside out. Do you see that? That is what a properly lined, fully lined bodice is supposed to look like when you don't have the lining on the sleeve. Ta-da! On the bottom. So you do see it on the interior right here. So I just went all the way around on the inside. I took it in halves, so I started from the top, or I started from the bottom to the top, and then I went on the other side from the top to the bottom, and then it's finished very professionally in the interior. So I'm going to turn that back inside, right side out, and that way, no raw edges. The seam is going towards the body, so it's not going to floof out that way. The bodice is going to stay in place, and it's professionally lined. Pretty neat, if I say so myself. Let's see, maybe on Ruffle Chat, maybe someone like Tyler at the convention will flock people. Huh. Who's Tyler? Who's Tyler? I'm so out of the loop. So I'm going to do it on this side. Maybe you can see it better. Let's like scooch this over a little bit. Alright. Just to show you. So here I have my lining. Here's the arm's eye. Here's the side seam. And then of course we have our shoulder seams on both sides. Here's the arm's eye here. So usually what I do is I'll start by taking the side seam, making sure that this part, see how it's flowing this way? So this, on the right side of the lining, is going to match up with the inside of the sleeve, the seam allowance on the side seam. So you have the side seam bottom arm's eye here, side seam bottom arm's eye here. We're just going to match those up. I sew on the lining side, so I'm going to put my pin on the lining side. If I can find my pins, there we go. So this is how we start it. Okay, and then I'm just going to match up the seams here. I think it might be easier to go this way. So if you can tell here, this is the interior of the sleeve. I'm going to pull this out. I'm folding it out like this, so it's kind of like spreading out the circle. And same thing, spreading out like this. So these are the places that we're going to attach it to. Our cardinal points are the princess seam, the bottom of the arm's eye, which is here, is the princess seam, and the top of the shoulder, which is here. So we just match up those seams that are on the lining and on the bodice. Oh, she's a popular Lolita YouTuber. Well, now I feel sheepish for not having heard of her before. Scarfing Scarves. She does Last Week Lolita News. Hi, Patrice. Hello. New person, new person. We're just setting some lining into a sleeve the right way. So here. She's from Texas though, but she does travel. Well, Texas is another option for us, especially El Paso, since we share a border with Texas, we share a border with Arizona and with Colorado. So I figured I would reach out to our surrounding states first. I already put out a little bit of a bulletin for local, but there aren't too many Lolitas. We have Lolitas, we just don't have too many of them that are designers or makers. So we might need to broaden the pool. Patrice! How are you? Tell me. Tell me things. Oh, hello. Jet Set Geometry is now following. Hooray. Is that Patrice or is that a new person? I can never tell. Everybody's names are different depending on where they're watching from. Alright, we're gonna do this. Woo! Oh yeah, setting a sleeve. Well, actually, we already set the sleeve. We're just putting in the lining now. Okay. Pull this in a little bit. Sleeve lining? What is this? Real sewing? Oh, I know. Hang on. Let me finish this one and then I'll show you what I'm doing. I need everybody to learn how to do this. It changes your game completely. It's actually not the lining in the sleeve itself. This is actually a way to completely line a bodice when your sleeves are not lined. So I'm just kind of doing a little inside out magic here. And let me finish getting to the bottom of the arm's eye. Boop-a-doop, boop. Don't do it. Okay, that's one side on this sleeve, but let me pull out these pins and also cut away the threads that I have. Oh yeah, so for those of you who are just joining me, my stance is that sleeves suck, or as I call them, shoulder prisons. If you're familiar with Critical Role, I believe Marisha Ray wears a shirt that says sleeves are bullshit. I happen to like long sleeves, but I like bishop sleeves. I like froofy sleeves, and I also like princess sleeves, but that's beside the point. I will show you what I'm doing. Let's just get this finished. Okay. Alright. So I have already done this side. So here we have our sleeve. And we have it fully lined with just cotton because I want this to be like super comfy. And this is what the inside of that sleeve looks like. So with a little bit of origami, you too can have a perfectly lined interior to a sleeved gown or dress. So basically what I was doing is I'm sewing it in between here so that it's nice and finished on this side and nice and finished inside too. Nothing poking you, everything's going the right direction. There we go. And I have already one side of this sleeve done. Raglan sleeves? Yeah, you know, raglan sleeves are aesthetically pleasing in many ways. They're kind of a bitch to pattern, but I do have a book that shows you how to pattern raglan sleeves if you want to. There's a lot of cutting away and putting together, and like, because your raglan sleeves go into your shoulders. So let's see, let's catch up here. Prefer bishop sleeves too? Yes. You're definitely a no sleeve person, that's totally okay. Let's see, but I also have some totally dope shoulder freckles. Well, if you want to show those off, I can't blame you. Let's see, I am a sucker for raglan sleeves, yes you said this, and did you have to do a lot of easing on that sleeve? Well, this is actually an already set pattern. So the ease was already included in the pattern itself. But I can't imagine that it would need more ease. If I needed more ease, I could do that, but I don't think it's going to be an issue when I wear this. So, no is the answer. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Just gotta get this hairline going. Well, welcome for joining us, Jet Set Geometry. I appreciate your joining me. Did you just find me from looking at the maker section? We're curious about what you were looking at. I'm always curious about where people find my channel, if it's not from either my Facebook page or if they follow my blog. Then where did you find me? It's a mystery. I'm curious. Aw, neat. Well, thank you so much for checking me out. If you want to check out others, I do not blame you. There are quite a few of cool people out there making stuff. So there's a lot to discover in the makers section. I honestly should peruse it a lot more myself. I have been remiss in catching up with my fellow makers and just kind of focusing on doing my own thing, but that's not fair. Other people come in here to see me, I should see them. Alright, let's see, where am I? Here we go. I just have so many projects that I have to finish, I just figure I'll do it all on camera. And let's see. You look like you know what you're doing now. Oh, thank you. Well, I've been doing this for 19 years. I can't say I've been doing it right for 19 years. It's been a learning process and I'm constantly learning. But I do currently teach at Santa Fe Community College production sewing. And I feel like I have a lot of knowledge and skills that I want everybody to be able to pick up and learn. So I started doing YouTube stuff, and then eventually I was convinced to do Twitch stuff, like live stuff. We just finished doing a blouse patterning tutorial from the Otomino sewing books that are all in Japanese, and I wanted to show people that you don't have to read Japanese in order to be able to draft the patterns from those books. So that's where we started, and I'm going to be editing that so that it's more concise once I finish the blouse itself. Right now we just finished the pattern stage. But eventually it's going to be a complete tutorial on how to make that blouse from Otomino sewing. Yeah, I'm a teacher. I just got that job. So that's exciting. But I've been playing around with the Otomino sewing books for, I want to say, about 8 years now. And it's really gotten me back out of my shell. I went to fashion design school back in 2002 to 2004. I went to the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising in Los Angeles. And then I continued my education at Santa Fe Community College. I'm in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And after completing my certificate there at Santa Fe Community College, I was hired as a teacher for production sewing. I also apprenticed at the Santa Fe Opera for a summer stock, and I worked in a factory for about 5 months, so I got to learn a few things there too. All the best patterns on Pinterest are the Japanese ones. Arizona's Canada. Is that right? That's so funny. Well, if you're ever interested in learning how to use those patterns, I have all of the Otomino sewing books, and I share them liberally with anyone who wants them on my blog. I have a blog that you can visit, and some select patterns and diagrams are shared there for free. And I also have a Discord channel where I've been sharing the class materials for the latest tutorial that I've endeavored to try, which was the blouse. So the blouse diagram and a placket pattern has been shared on my Discord channel. So if you wanted to follow along, you can do so. It's you can see the archives of the pattern drafting process, and like I said before, it's going to be on YouTube in an edited form. Oh, this is nice. That is so nice. This pattern is from Otome no Sewing number 2. I've been wanting to make it for quite a while now. And it's going to have this cute, just little froofy skirt, and then I cut strips and strips of this tricot netting so it doesn't fray. I don't have to finish the edge. It's got some sparkly bits on it. And these are going to be a bottom hem ruffle that's attaching to the lining, so it's going to be on the lining like this. You might live in Arizona. Well then, if you live in Arizona, we have KanjiCon happening in November. If you sew and make clothes, would you happen to be interested in joining us for a J Fashion show that we're having? I'm looking for people, and I actually reached out to our cousins in Arizona and Colorado, trying to gain some interest and participation for such an event. I like the chips and the fabrics thing. Okay, let's see. Oh, Melon, you're welcome, by the way. I love sharing my patterns with everybody. And oh, neat, I've been doing a lot of pattern making recently, and I need to learn patterns better. Oh, you don't really make clothes, but I assume maybe you'll eventually get to that point? I mean, I went to school and all, but I was nowhere near the level that I'm at now until I decided, you know what, I need to decide on a career. I was, I think, 30 at the time. I just turned 30, and I decided that I need a career. So I'm like, you know what, I have these Japanese patterns I've been collecting. I'm gonna bust one out and do one of them. Like, I'm just gonna do a thing. And I started getting back into pattern drafting, which I learned in school but wasn't very good at it. And just after a lot of trial and error, I got to a level that I guess it qualifies me to teach. So, all in a span of about 8 years. 7. 8. I'm 37. I know I don't look it, but yep, that's happening. Oy. Oh. Let's see now. Let's catch up. Maybe you could be a model. I mostly do alterations to thrift store clothes so I can look extra super sexy. And that sounds fun for sure. I do have an incredibly strong jawline. Also, I've seen Zoolander so much I'm practically overqualified to be a model. I'm trying to think of a good Zoolander quote, but I can't. I do like them though, they're super funny. Alright, so, ooh, that's all done. So the interior of this bodice is finished. And they're all good quotes. I actually really liked the second one too. I thought that was pretty funny. Especially with all those cameos. Holy crap. So, what do I want to do? I'm trying to decide if it's going to be easier for me to put on this trim if I put the trim on first before attaching anything. So now that the bodice is done and the lining for the bodice is done and everything's attached on the arm's eye, I was thinking I was going to put these skirts on separately, so to the lining and to the shell of the fabric. These are already mostly put together. I was thinking of putting on, I have to put these together though. They have to be one long strip. And then they need to be gathered, and then they need to be applied to the bottom hem of this lining skirt. And then the lining skirt needs to be applied to the dress, the bodice, and then the other skirt put onto the bodice. And then we can finish the hem, and we can put in the zipper, and we can finish the interior of the lining where the zipper goes, and put on buttons and buttonholes for the cuffs, and then we're done. That's it. Yes, it's a Lolita thing. Here, where did I have one of the books? Where did I have one of the books? I was working on, oh, I guess number 8 is somewhere. Hiding. Waiting. Oh, here it is. Yeah, so I have these books that I use. I have all 13 of them waiting for number 14. But I teach people how to interpret the patterns that come in these books. Like this. We were doing this the other day, which is the blouse pattern, which I have cut out right there. Lots of numbers, but easily broken down if you know what you're looking for. Oh, the pattern is somewhere for this, but I don't know. Oh, yeah. How do you scale it up? So all of the diagrams are in centimeters. You just draft it out using the measurements of the centimeters in the diagram. So for instance, we have the center front here, and it tells you how long to make this line so that you can attach different cardinal points and draft out the pattern. And then you transfer the pattern to a separate piece of paper, add your seam allowance, and you have a pattern. It's all in the archives if you're curious. There's also grading if you needed to make the pattern a little bigger to fit yourself. There is a way to do that. Let's see. I think some of this has selvage on it that I might have to snip off. Yeah, it's just getting to the points. Exactly. It's connecting the dots, making a box that's a frame, and then there's different points that you just make diagonals, or you use special rulers that are for pattern drafting, which I have also shared on my Discord of where to find those rulers. There's a really inexpensive plastic set that you can find that's a transparent ruler set for dressmaking, and it comes with an L square. It's all in metric, so you would need a metric ruler anyway if you're interpreting the Japanese pattern, since everything is in metric. The L square, the hip curve, armhole ruler, which is how we get those perfectly curved armholes on our patterns, using just pattern drafting tools. I teach you how to use a ponce wheel, which is what this thing is called, or a tracing wheel, but it's really a ponce wheel because what it's doing is making little holes underneath the line that you're tracing so that it transfers it over. Has almost made you convert to metric. Centimeters is so superior to inches. That's what I'm saying too. Unfortunately, when I teach my class, I have to teach in imperial, so I do both. But when I'm doing the Japanese patterns, I tend to stick to the metric because it is easier, isn't it? It's kind of nuts that we do anything different. What's wrong with us? Okay. Ew, fractions. I know, trying to find a 16th or a 32nd. Like, what kind of sorcery is this that you're trying to make me do? I refuse. I'd rather just count millimeters and everything's in tens. Like, why? Why do we do anything different? Okay, this. I think this was already trimmed. Yes, it was. So I have 1. I have 2. 3. I have 4. Okay. 4 should be enough for a ruffled hemline thingy. I'm gonna sneeze again. I'm gonna sneeze! Woo! I don't like it! I don't like it. Okay, I think I'm fine. Strawberries! Let's see. I'm an American living in Canada. Metric is so much better. I swear, if I have to add 3/8 one more freaking time, I'm mostly okay with different, actually. But then again, all my friends call me contrarian. But I strongly disagree with that sentiment. Very funny. But I agree. I am also the same. As far as, you know, being different, I'm okay with being different. There's a clever joke in there, but I'm concentrating. So, methinks I might have to do something like serge these edges together. Instead of sewing it with my machine, I think I might serge, rather overlock, with a very fine, very short length overlock. Just to keep it all in, because this is a mesh fabric that I'm working with, so let's see what we do. Oy vey. Lunchtime. Okay. So you're in Arizona. Do you go to Saboten at all? Saboten convention? You're not much of a convention person. That's fair. That is totally fair. It takes a lot of energy to be part of that scene. Let's see now. Sometimes I think I want a serger, but then I look at all the threads and I'm like, nope. It took me like 6 months to figure out how to thread a regular machine. Oh no! Dude, let me tell you about the wonders of a serger. Once you figure it out, it's not that hard. You mostly just leave it alone. There's a way to change the color if you want to change the color by pulling the threads after tying them up here. So you don't have to fiddle with it, but even, you know, threading it again is not too much of a hassle. And it makes everything look so good. Except right now, because apparently my serger is being a little bitch. That's okay. So I might have to do something like super tight. Super tight. Okay, let's see how that works. The amount of times people have said, oh, it's not that hard once you figure it out, and then that was a total lie, is a lot. Well, the unfortunate truth is, if you are ever going to be making something for sale, that in order to up your level, you have to make friends with an overlock machine. Either this one, an industrial one, which is even more of a pain in the ass, but it's not so much finding pleasure in figuring it out, it's more like finding pleasure in the eventual results that you get from it. And it kind of makes you overlook the trials and tribulations of having to learn it, thread it, or whatever, because it really just ups the game a lot. course, as I'm doing this, I'm trying to convince you that a serger is good. Pay no attention to the man behind the screen. For instance, I have used this very same serger to do a purled edge on chiffon, and it looks amazing. Of course, it is just a matter of finagling a little bit here. Let's see if we can actually get this working. Let's leave that up there. So make sure that these are seated. Everything is seated properly. And that's better. I make a strong point. Okay. Fortunately, I'm a young person and I'm completely immune to good points in logic. That's fair. Okay. What do I have here? So you could have raw edges like this, or you could have your seams finished like they were in a factory. Your choice. But your work will always be pegged for being handmade unless it had a finishing on the inside. There are ways around it. You could do a Hong Kong finish or a binding finish on your inside seams, or you can get a serger. I love teaching. And I am going to use my walking foot on this damn thing because fuck it all. And let's see. Starting to convert me with those clean edges. For someone who does this professionally, that seems like a small machine. The serger or overlock machine, or this machine. Did you see? I have my industrial. I do this so that you guys can see what I'm doing. But when I'm working by myself on professional projects, I'll use the Juki instead. It's so much faster. 2,000 stitches per minute. Actually, I think it said it goes faster than that, but it goes pretty fast. For comparison, this home machine only goes 800 stitches per minute. There's the Juki, yep. It's a Juki 8700 with a servo motor. Goes so fast it has a brake on it. I have students right now in my sewing class learning how to use industrial machines, and all of them are quite intimidated. One of my dreams is to eventually get not just an industrial Juki overlock machine, but also to maybe invest in a Muro machine. So I would have 2 different machines, one for overlocking the inside seams and cleaning up the finishing, and then I would have something for purl edging, which is a Murrow machine. You don't, I don't even know what that machine name is. Here. There you go. Look it up! They're fun. I've also used cover stitch machines, blind stitch machines, walking foot machines, chain stitch machines, like all industrial strength machines. And I also have an industrial electric rotary cutter, the kind that cuts 20 layers at a time for production. Yep. I also love that thing because it cuts through 20 layers of fabric like butter. Like it's not there. It's like, oh, what's this in my way? Nothing? Okay. Suddenly you have pieces everywhere. And that's my rotary cutter. You'd be afraid of that? Oh no. So those Murrows are just sergers on steroids. Technically, they were the original overlock machine. But yeah. And those go super fast too, because they are industrial, they need to be efficient and quick. So just like the Juki goes 2,000 stitches a minute, so too does the overlock machine, or a Murrow machine. It goes so fast. Yeah, check out how they cut fabric in factories. That's fun to watch. Those, they have upright knives, vertical knives, electric, that they have to wear chainmail gloves when they operate that machine. Of course, the really big factories have the Gerber system laser cutting machine. So there's no plotter or no marker that goes on top of the fabric. It's just all in the computer and automatically cut with a laser cutter. Oh, so they're roid raging too. Yeah, I mean, you could say that. Alright, I think I've got enough of this to go around my hem. It's gonna be so pretty. I'm gonna have to do something about this. Oh, I know what I could do with that. I'm gonna turn off the knife on my serger and just do a rolled hem. Duh! Should have thought of that. Okay, let's try this again. Doo-doo. Well, if you're curious about the information that I share, or even talking with me when I'm not streaming online, you can definitely share, or you can join our Discord. So the invite code should be there if you wanted to join us. Let's turn off said knife and see what we get. Let's see, can we lower that knife a little bit more? Okay, there we go. I am pressing the wrong pedal. Hey. Ah. Oh. It's always something. Yeah, rolled him. If, you know, and get this to work properly. Let's see. Ouch you! Yeah, I know. Oh. Well, it started to work. Let's see. I got my nifty little tool. So, fun fact. I buy most of my supplies on AliExpress. And I just got this guy. Super cool bent tweezer for my serger here for $1.50. It's way better than the ones that actually come with the machine. It's hilarious. To be honest, most of the sewing I do is digital on the computer. Oh, so like for 3D models? Or do you mean you use a CAD system? It's still going through. It's technically still also going through. Oh, I see what's happening. Let's try bringing that up a little bit too. More stable. So it's still threaded. This needs to be changed. You are a 3D artist. That is amazing. I love that you do that. That is something that I could never quite wrap my head around. I did try it. I think I experimented with some 3D clothing design for Second Life. If you remember, or if you even know what Second Life is, it's 3D virtual environment, and I tried, before I started getting back into sewing, I was trying my hand at the digital side of things. What I discovered was I'm terrible at textile design, and you would have to have, you have the map of where everything falls on the 3D form, and I'm just not that good at that. I can do this, but I did try, and I know that I'm not very good at it. So the fact that you do that is very impressive. I wholly admire that. That's really cool. Okay. I need to find my hex key. Oh, little hex key. Where are you? No, really, like, where are you? Where? Where, oh, where did my little hex go? Seriously, though. This should not be hard. I'm about to be very, very upset. Okay. Question mark? No, but really though. Oh my god! I have too many tools. Too many. I found the wrong size hex key. Well, little aside, we just moved into this place, so there are still a few missing pieces. Anyway, let's see where we are. Actually, digital sewing has really advanced in the last few years. It's all physics-based, and most techniques transfer between real and digital. It's pretty neat. But yeah, it was probably easier for me because I came from the 3D side of things. That's really cool. I really, really think that's cool. Like, super cool. Wait a minute. Not you right here. Not in there. Okay. Nothing in there. Wait a minute. Somewhere in all of this mess. Where? Okay, so no. Oh, jeez. Oh, hey, my pink pen! I was looking for that! Oh, yeah. That happened. and real techniques to understand what to do digitally. So what you're doing here is really great. Awesome. That's super neat. So do you do the 3D modeling for video games and stuff like that? 'Cause that's cool. Totes cool. No, really though. Seriously though, where in the fuckity? Somewhere in here. Right here. Hey. Oh gosh darn it. Oh, I found more clips. That's good, I guess. Oh, hey, that's where that went. I have my chart. Ah! I'm having a little bit of an issue. I can't seem to find my hex key. Ah, nuts. Cal, do you know where it is? Do you know where it is? Yeah, I have a tiny little hex key, Allen wrench. It goes and releases this needle that just bent in my overlock machine. I may have mentioned before that we recently moved into this place. Of course, we've been here for like 3 months now, but there are still here and there things that are coming out of the woodwork that I realize I'm missing or in a completely different place than I originally intended it to be. So now, the first time living here that I need this thing, it is not any of the places that I would usually have it. And this is frustrating. I know. I kind of need this. I need this to continue with life. So, I'm a little bit flummoxed. Like, why isn't it in the usual places? It should be in my toolbox here. And yet, it is missing. Why is it missing? Gosh, I can't even speak English. I'm so upset. Oh, hey! I found it! You'll never guess. You'll never guess where I found this thing. Here's my tiny little hex key. Does it fit? Yep. I found it. I have this this guy over here on the wall. See that drawer full of things? Like tiny little things you'd suspect are in those things? Yeah, I was in there and it was labeled machine tools. Brilliant! Flummoxed! I know. I was almost there. I managed to finagle my way out of being flummoxed and back into a state of peace and calm, I think. Awesome! We're good. Everything's fine. I don't know if you could tell, but I am a bit silly. I go on. Let's see. I need a very medium weight needle. Let's see if this works. 14. Right where it was supposed to be. I hate it when that happens. I know, right? I never put things away right. I have been trying to be better about it. I really, really, really have. Because after doing this for as long as I have, I realize if I only put things in the right place, I won't have to go through the headache of looking for it again. Or so I tell myself. And then my future self does something completely different. And it's not a good time. Oh my god. So silly. Alright, this time for real now. For real. Not for play. Okay. I think we are good. I think we are okay. Jeez. That was an ordeal. Okay. Am I gonna be able to... Is this gonna break on me? No, we're good. Phew! Pew pew! I know, future self is such a butthead. You listen to me, future self. You listen good. You're gonna put stuff away now. And then my future self will probably sulk and just do it. Because she's learned her lesson. At least that's what I like to believe. Alright, round 2. Don't break. Don't break. Don't do it. Oh my god, I did it! Thank God. That's all I wanted. Jeez. Let's see, how can we improve this? Bringing this up. Also this. It should be okay. Okay. Oh my gosh. Where did I start with this? Right. Okie dokie. Put that right underneath said needle. Down. Looks like that's it. Oh, thank God. Thank God that's over. Well. I fixed my machine. What is that noise? Who's talking at me? Alright. I think it's break time. So yeah, it's like 2:30. I'm going to take a break. I will be back later. You'll get the notification if you're following me. So yeah, thanks for joining me, Jet Set. And if I see you again, that would be awesome. Join me on the Discord if you want to talk about sewing some more or look at my patterns, or you can check out my blog. or don't. It's totally fine. Thank you for joining me anyway. Maybe we'll see you next time, and everybody else too. So, I'll be back. Okay, bye.